Beg your pardon? Meredith, who is this coarse person with the foreign accent?
So you go to Village A, you find out specific object is missing in the tower. You go to the tower, you defeat the Goblin King whatsoever. You return to the village, find out it was all a lie, it was a fraud by a bandit king. I mean, I don't see you as Forest Fairy, you know? I don't see that. just to be honest.
Okay. You know what, Thomas? We can start with that. Explain to me, what is a gamer tag? Is it like system generated and then you fall in love with it, or do you choose your own?
You choose your own.
Okay. What's yours?
So my nickname is pronounced as Azatiron.
Okay.
Which is a weird hybrid between German and English, and that's inspired by mythical creatures in the Pathfinder RPG game.
Okay, cool. All right. Hey, welcome, Thomas. You are the host of the excellent Schniekattack podcast, which is a German language gaming podcast, but we have lots of listeners in Germany, so maybe there will be overlap, right?
I hope so, yeah. The Schniekattack is inspired by the infamously popular sneak attack that we all know from games like Dungeons and Dragons. And the word sneak is from Berlin. It's a local word used when something is good. You can also say it's Schnieke. And my podcast partner and myself, we are both from Berlin, so I had the brilliant idea to just combine both terms.
All right. So Dungeons and Dragons, that's like the godmother, godfather of all these games, right? But is it generational? So how old are you and your partner, roughly, podcast partner?
So I'm in my beginning 40s and he is in his end 30s. So on average, we are like 40, I would say, and our listeners are about the same age. And yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is the godfather and mother from the 80s, basically, where it all began with the tabletop RPGs.
Okay, and did it start? Nowadays, you see these cafes, right, where people hang out and play D&D. I know the lingo. Look at me.
Wow.
Where you play D&D in these cafes, was it always like that, or is that new? Because nowadays, you know, people don't buy physical games anymore. So all those like old game shops and stuff, even some bookstores, in the back they have like a role-playing game area where people gather and play these games together.
Okay, so we do have those gaming shops that I think also offer some rooms for games. There's a group, Verein, like a community of gamers in Berlin. They meet in Treptow in a flat. So the community rents the flat, and there's always somebody around playing games in those 3 rooms. And it's not just board games, it's also RPGs.
Yeah. And why people gravitate towards Dungeons and Dragons is that, like, it's fantasy. You get to be like a character with superpowers. Is that pretty much it?
Well, it really depends. And so there are different types of gamers. So you definitely have those people that tend to power fantasy. They want to have superpowers that they lack of in real life. But also not really superpowers, but just maybe charisma skills, like talking to people that they do not have in their real life, but they have it on paper in their character sheet. So yeah, they can roleplay how it is to actually be talkative. Yeah, and that's also one of the things that can be therapeutical in role-playing.
Yeah.
So you can actually treat people with it
Excellent
mentally.
cure for loneliness, from what it sounds like.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah. And then you have also those people that do not have any interesting thing happening in their life. So playing tabletop RPGs is their way to experience something different than their everyday life, including those who play horror games because, well, fortunately, there's not so much cosmic horror in our real world.
Yeah. There is a winner, right, in Dungeons and Dragons.
No, Danny,
No?
come on. No, that's one of the misconceptions of D&D. So there is the saying that I won D&D, but it's actually incorrect because it's about playing with other people and telling a story together. So the act itself is the winning part. Of course, you can finish a campaign, you can finish a long tale and defeat one final boss or whatever. And of course, this is a win, but it's just cooperative storytelling what you do. So every session is a win.
Okay. So, and the sessions are pretty long. But you can get, who determines the character? Because what if you want to be like a warrior or something, but then you get to be a lizard or a tree? Then aren't you now just stuck in like a multi-hour thing where you don't get to act out what you actually want it to be?
You're just imagining playing a tree. It 4 hours long, and hopefully the other people around stick nearby so you can actually interact with each other. So one of the things that make role-playing so gravitational is that you interact with other people sitting at the same table. And usually, to answer your question, usually you create your own character. So you have an idea. Of course, it's based on the rule set for the specific game. So if you take D&D, for example, it's medieval fantasy in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases. So you have a set like a mage and a cleric and a thief and a warrior, as you referenced. And then you decide, okay, what's that type of guy? So I want to play a lizard mage, for example, but that's not all. So there are parts of your character that are not specifically built in the rule set. So these character traits you can completely make up. That's the reason why every character is different.
What's in the rule set then?
Well, there's of course the heritage, like a dwarf or an elf or a halfling or a hobbit. It depends on the game. And the character class usually. So that would be the warrior or the cleric and so on. But then you also have like those backgrounds where you can like get additional feats depending on what you have done before adventuring that give you bonuses in specific situations.
All right. And do they have like ultimate skills?
So again, with I want to win this game. So this is I read from your questions that you're comparing it to MMORPGs. Or like League of Legends or something that is charging up, or sooner or later you can have a super attack.
Or Monopoly, which is a RPG as well, because you're playing that weird guy with the mustache who's based on, is he based on the original JP Morgan or something? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, so it depends on the rule set you play. So there are those that have like charging up powers, so that you gather, and then over time you can do something super special. For example, let's say Dagger Heart. The game was released last year officially. It was created by Darrington Press, which belongs to Critical Role, and in there, you have the hope and fear mechanic. So we can gather hope tokens. And with those hope tokens, you can do special attacks. And you need to gather them over time.
Okay. I got it. In D&D and this one, is there a main character? Is someone the main hero, or is everyone equal?
Well, it depends on who is at the table. So in best case, there's no main character. In practice, it can happen that specific characters feel like the chosen one, and the whole story is built around those characters. Yeah, but it's the exception from the rule. In best case, you have like different people contributing equally to the story.
I see. Yeah.
I have an example for you. So our podcast, the Schniekattack podcast, is about campaigns of Critical Role. And in the last campaign, the third campaign, it played partly on the moon, and there was a red storm and some godly stuff happening. And one of the player characters, was a chosen one from, let's say, the moon deity. So from the first session, she had visions from a red storm. And when they had been on the moon itself, there was a very a strong link towards this entity and the whole plot. The whole plot was about the moon entity. So my podcast partner and myself are very certain about it. There might be people being upset about this judgment, but we are pretty determined that she was the main character of the campaign. Everything around it was also contributing, but not for the main story, let's say.
Okay, this is going to blow your mind that I'm going to ask this, because I think this is a big conversation. I'm going to guess this is a big argument in the RPG community. Mm-hmm. How about AI-generated stories? Are they better than are they starting to be good and fun to play?
There was a release a couple of weeks ago. It was a D&D date night or something, which contains AI texts and AI images, and various content creators in the RPG space in Germany complain about that. And one of the leading groups is the Orkenspalter TV. And I follow their judgment in that regard. AI can contribute something if you just don't have any clue what to play, but why are you trying to play in the first place when there is no creative spark whatsoever? But basing a whole story of an AI plot feels not very creative, I would say. Also, as you know, AI is... there's so many creative people out there that write, that do art, like visual art, and all those people are not engaged anymore in RPGs, or not as much as in the earlier times. So it's sad, and I think we need a strong stance against those in the RPG space.
Yeah, the creative professions are going through a massive upheaval here. I agree with that. But the reason why I'm asking is that when I started looking into RPGs and the way the characters are built and the stories, it reminded me a little bit of like this neural network thing of an AI. And AI systems kind of choose a personality as well, and then they give their advice based on just something they've chosen out of the internet. You know what I mean? It's a little bit reminiscent of the same kind of mathematics when you start building a story and a character.
Sure. I mean, most of the AIs used for this specific reason are large language models, as you know. So they were fed with stories, with story beats and rule books and whatsoever. And what you get from there as output is some merge of things that had been created in the past.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, back to the fun. So, so in your ideal session,
mm-hmm.
First of all, how long are we talking? What is a good session? Because this sounds like when you go and play D&D or another RPG, you have to have the same conversation as when I go play golf. That this is a all day, multiple hours kind of thing.
So I think on average the session is like 3 or 4 hours.
Yep, that's a round of golf.
But it really depends on the group, on the scheduling. So many people, many groups, they get cancelled because they do not find enough time to play. So for those groups, even 1 hour or 2 hour feels like a win, so that they can play. And if you have family, it's even harder to find time. When I started playing RPGs, we had occasionally played the whole day. So we met at noon and played until past midnight. So there was a lot going on this very day, and we were very immersed in our characters and in the story, of course, because you spend so much time in there. And I don't know the exact number by heart, but it takes time to immerse yourself into the character, to feel in character and act accordingly. And when you end the session right after you are fully immersed, it doesn't feel so rewarding, let's say.
Yeah, I can understand that. So basically, yeah, so it's like going golfing more or less, or a full day out. So for you personally, what was the motivation? You wanted to get out of your shell or just meet people or be a hero? What's the main motivation?
Well, I played RPGs since the 90s. So one of my first RPGs was Final Fantasy VII. I got used to magic powers and super skills when I was a teenager. So that was always in my head. And then back in the days, we had those browser games that you could play and connect to other people. This is when internet came up. You might remember.
Run Escape. Run Escape. Do you remember that one?
I'm not sure about Run Escape.
That was big when I was in school. Some people were playing.
So I had a person in one of those browser games that mentioned Das Schwarze Auge. So the dark eye is the international name. So they were talking tales about their adventures, and it sounded fascinating for me. And then when I moved to my university town, I had the opportunity to join a group. And so to finally being able to try this hobby. And I think it was not about power fantasy. It was more about let's try something different. And I like cooperative things. I'm not so much a competitive guy, but more of a let's work together guy. And one of the fascinating things about tabletop RPGs is that there's no losing. There's just adventuring together. Of course, there are challenges by the game master, but usually you overcome those challenges. So you're just having a good time. And of course, depending on the rule set, you can also try to find good builds for the character. So trying new things, being curious, and which skill goes well with which attribute, and how can I combine things. So there's also a tactical aspect of it.
Yeah. What about the violence? What about the fights?
What about it?
So some characters have to die along the way, right? For there to be drama in this. So 2 hours into a session, your lizard gets stepped on by the mage or something. What happens then?
Well, it's rare that player characters die. So usually the NPCs die, or let's say the monsters die. So there is a player versus player, but it's not that often. And if you have that, it might have been a bad company in the group. So you should be able to work as a team. If you realize sooner or later it's just not working, then I think there's need for change. This is when you can switch characters, for example. It can also be on a player level, so that a specific persons sitting at the table do not work well with each other. So there's always tension. So I know that as well from personal experience. That can also happen. Yeah.
So real world drama and arguments can result from the game. Any bad ones?
Well, it can definitely happen. I don't want to make the wrong impression, but it's the exception from the rule, okay? But yes, it can actually happen. So there have been hate emails after a session, for example. A player not feeling well respected and leaving the whole group. So this can happen. Yeah, but I think when this happens, it's not just about the group. There's something else lingering in the specific persons and why they play and why they should not play until they have specific issues figured out.
Yeah, sounds familiar. So, you mentioned Final Fantasy and stuff, but those are video games as well. So this is video RPGs. What is the health of the state of the union when it comes to tabletop RPGs? Like, do people still have time for this? The younger generation, or are they all stuck to their screens playing video RPGs?
You're asking questions that I cannot fully answer. So
because it's a secret. Because I'm not in the right guild and I don't
I'm not
have
in the right
powers.
guilds, which specifically means the age group. But what I can tell you is that there has always been increase in the video game industry. So people play more and more and more. Of course, the type of games has changed, but it's a long-lasting upscaling of video games being played. And RPGs, well, they change. People want to make money of it, obviously, and need to find new financial models to get the money from people. So if you take, for example, the creators of Dungeons and Dragons of the Coast, they are launching new digital systems where you can buy additional stuff in their digital space. Like they have a virtual tabletop and you can buy additional stuff on top of the other stuff that you also need to buy. And this is like a micro transaction thing. So they try that, but there are also indie publishers that just want to sell their stuff. I have been at the convention in Freiburg in Germany where we had a talk about it for 1.5 hours from different angles. And yeah, depending on who you ask, it's going well or not so well.
I see.
Yeah. And on the positive note, more and more people start playing tabletop RPGs.
Yeah. When it comes to the business of selling the classic board game version, now it's so big, and you have like a narrator or a game leader, right? Those people now know the stories by heart. Do you need to actually buy anything from the creators of Dungeons and Dragons to play? Because you can just show up in a group and someone will know things by heart, right?
You cannot know everything, and there are also supplement books. And so even if you just go by hardcover books, it's just a lot, and you don't need to memorize everything. The most important thing is keep your story running. And you can find lots of information about role-playing games, for example, D&D or Pathfinder, for free online. So when I returned to Berlin, I started a Pathfinder group, Pathfinder First Edition, and it was based on D&D 3.5. But in the meantime, D&D 4 had been released already, but people were not very happy about it. And Paizo is the publisher of Pathfinder, and they decided very early to release the system reference document for free online. So when we played our Pathfinder campaign, this was one of the bookmarks that we regularly use And we are still using it. So we are still playing Pathfinder First Edition, although the second edition was released a couple of years ago, but we stick to first because there are advantages. And it's completely free. We didn't need to buy anything for playing Pathfinder RPG. And Wizards of the Coast also decided to publish a system reference document. So it is possible, but you do not have access to everything, but you also do not need access to everything in order to play.
No, and much of this is based on that the dynamic of the group, everyone wants to exercise their imagination and play a character. So as long as the motivation of the people is there, you don't really need fancy things, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because theater is a basic version of an RPG. It's just a script to a play, right?
Yes. What people do with tabletop RPGs is that they improvise the theater.
Yeah.
So they stick to their characters, but everything else is made up on the spot. You have the game master, which in most cases has some sort of plot in their mind, what can happen, but they cannot predict what the people at the table do. And there's a saying that even the best plot does not survive the first interactions with the player characters, because they do weird shit. They take a wrong turn and are interested in something completely different, because you might have emphasized something a little bit different, and they are like on the watch. Why did he say it like he did? There must be something else. Let's follow that thread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can make choices here. You don't.
Yes.
Game leader doesn't tell you where you're going to end up. You choose, right?
Danny, that also depends. So there are different styles of game mastering. So there is this railroading where it's very clear where the story leads you to. So it's predetermined. So you go to village A, you find out specific object is missing in the tower. You go to the tower, you defeat the goblin king whatsoever. You return to the village, find out it was all a lie. It was a fraud by a bandit king. So you go to the bandit king and convince them about anything. So you have predetermined where the group will go. And there's also the freestyling, where it's like the sandbox, where you can do whatever you want. So there is a plot, but there's no need to do it. You can just do whatever you do, and the game master needs to adapt to that. Of course, that's more preparation for the game master, but depending on the skill of the game master, they are able to improvise a lot on the road.
I see. But they have some kind of like reference books, right? So when you make a choice, and you've improvised, like, I'm just gonna go explore this cave.
Yes.
So now there is a reference book, right, where they can go and look at what might be in this cave.
What do you mean with the book?
Or like, is there some kind of set rule? Because no, what I mean is, if I just say that, no, I'm going to go explore the cave now, and then there's no rules or no reference as who might live in the cave or what might happen to me, then I'm just in the cave. Yeah. Oh, you make it up. Okay. Yeah.
You can make that completely up. So there might be an adventure written by somebody else that is just a cave adventure. So you can buy the adventure, for example, for $5, and you play it. So you have like the freestyle, the sandbox, until you enter the cave, and then you unpack the pre-purchased adventure and go page by page. But there's no need to do that. You can also improvise. What kind of cave it is, which animals live there, how are the lighting situations, is there water in it, is it deadly, is there a river, are there, you can make everything up, depending on the skill, and it should be reasonable, let's say. So it's a bit, for example, awkward to enter the cave and then enter heaven, for example. So that's a bit unexpected. So you should get something that you have expected. But also a surprise from time to time is also very nice. And then you go from there. And the stats from the monsters, from the challenges, you can reference in books. But depending on the strength of the group, you can also improvise those stats. It's not that hard.
Okay. What about players of D&D on average? Do they have a sense of humor? Is this funny? Like, can you make it funny?
In most cases, a session is very funny and hilarious. In most cases. It depends on what you play, but in most cases, it is very funny. Even when you play horror games, you need from time to time comedic relief because everything is so dark and we are humans, so we need to compensate feeling bad all the time. So there must be a joke from time to time. Yeah. But it also depends on with whom you're playing and what game you play. So there are those games where there's not so much to laugh about. But a usual D&D session is full of laughter.
Cool. The horror games, what's a great one? A horror RPG?
Well, very popular is Call of Cthulhu. Have you heard of that?
It's a Metallica song. Yeah, I've heard of it.
They're great songs about Cthulhu. I can also recommend the Gunship song about Cthulhu.
Originally, before the Metallica song, it's an H.P. Lovecraft character, isn't it? No.
Yeah, this is all about it. Yeah, it's cosmic horror. It's an alien entity, and that has some influence in the real world. And when you play Call of Cthulhu from time to time, the characters see things that shouldn't be there.
The thing that should not be. That's another Metallica song.
And you can get madness from it and get mental illnesses and whatsoever and die also. And if you have good storytelling, you have like a dark theme the whole session.
All of this I'm going to have to try. I'm actually quite excited about this. I've never played, and now you're making it sound very fun. But you have to listen to these songs. The Call of Cthulhu and The Thing That Should Not Be. They're on different albums, but I think you'll like the vibe. It'll go with the game. The lyrics are from H.P. Lovecraft, so it's this same stuff.
Yeah, we can send links or I try to memorize it. Of course, I mean, I like metal music, so that shouldn't be a struggle for me to enjoy it.
So in the horror RPGs, I have to ask the first question that comes to my mind, because I'm a weird guy, is, are there any real-life weirdos who try to join those sessions? Because you would think that might be like a stepping stone for someone who might have some real darkness in them. You know what I mean?
I doubt it.
We hope not.
It might be, but usually tabletop RPG people are very chill and try to have a good time. There might be some people with mental illnesses that try to run a game or try to ruin a game when they are a bit too immersed, let's say, in the madness. But I've never watched an actual play of horror games where you could see that one person or more than one is definitely having a bit too much fun into all the horror going on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it can happen. I mean, in the 80s, D&D had bad reputation because it was including themes about hell and devils and demons. So it had the reputation of being satanical. So they tried to ban it, but made it even more popular, of course, for the teenagers. So there are those themes. It might be that people get lost in those worlds, but I'm not a psychologist. I know one of players that I played with a couple of years ago. He was in therapy and told the therapist about his coping mechanism, and she encouraged him to continue playing roleplay because it was good for his mental health.
Yeah. No, I can imagine it is. And obviously, I don't know, the stereotype is, I mean, you're a very like outgoing, fun person, and we've known each other for a few years, but the stereotype is a sort of silent loner, right? And for that kind of person, if that is most players, then getting out there and playing a character can only be healthy. You would assume, right?
Yes, yes, and I'm aware that about the stereotype, and I see those people at cons, but it's not so many when I play with them at the table. So there might be one person being a loner, but all the other people just want to have fun. But there are those people, yes.
No, of course. And yeah, and it's not just in role playing. As long as these people are going anywhere, like I used to work at this mini golf course as a summer job,
Okay.
and there was another place that would, I don't know, for some reason, some sort of quite alternative people would gravitate to that as a hobby, to mini golf, and I always thought like, well, at least they seem happy here. Like this could be a lot worse if they were just alone at home, right?
Yes, and historically, there have always been people that couldn't relate to society, so they found their own peer groups, be it tabletop RPGs, Nova Days, or music, or theater. And in best cases, they find their people to hang out with, and being the outsiders, probably.
Yes. Now, to dig into a little bit to your credentials as a gamer, explain to me, what are you the best at? How do you measure that? What are your stats for all the nerds out there? Give us some public stats in various games under your tag, Azatiron.
I play and game master for over 10 years now. I think it's about 15 years. So I have led RPG campaigns, and I also contributed as player. As one of my spare time activities is playing RPGs also online under my gamer tag. You can actually watch that stuff. So I focus on role play and not on fighting mechanics or dungeon crawls. So my biggest joy is interacting with the people at the table and not with the map on the table or the minis on the table. So I get more out of it when I talk to the people and not to like the game master all the time. My character goes there and interacts and analyzes this door, for example. I like to talk during RPG sessions, and I like to make a pun from time to time. So it happens that I do the comic relief. My strength is also in supporting other players. So I usually take note when people haven't contributed as much to the story. And it can happen that the game master does not act on it, because game masters have different stuff to juggle about in the session, like preparing future scenes and stuff. So it is always good to address those people at the table, asking questions when you know about their expertise, to involve them in playing their character. So I think I'm good at that.
Yeah. You got the job. That was a great job interview answer, actually.
I didn't know it was an interview.
Yeah. No, that's a great job. So you said people can watch you lead these games. Where is that, on YouTube or where do they?
It's usually a video on demand on YouTube. Yeah, I play with a group. They are called Familie Nerds, so like family nerds. Familie Nerds. They are most of my games available on YouTube, and I promote those on Instagram.
What is the overlap with the LARPing community then, for people who properly go into the woods and play a game?
There's an overlap, but it's a different group, let's say.
Is LARPing like the next level, where once you graduate out of the living room, then you go to the woods.
Yeah, LARPing is like even more immersive because you have this fine clothing and a toy weapon, and you have actually physical contact on a battle with other people. So it feels more intense. I never did LARPing, but I heard stories of it, and it's supposed to be a very great experience. And I don't know if it's the next level. I think it's just something different. So I know of people that just do LARP, but not RPG, either like tabletop RPG, because the tabletop RPG doesn't give them the same experience, the same hormones than LARPing does.
Yeah, same adrenaline. I never performed on stage, and I always thought I should. So I think this is a good like entryway into some acting as well. But LARPing, it seems like that's a commitment because I've seen people go to a LARPing session on a bus stop or something, and they had these like ice hockey bags full of stuff, and they
Yes.
were going out there for the whole weekend. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
wait, what do you so this is your life then for the weekend? There's no
Yes.
leaving. You're gonna be in this gear for the Seems like a huge commitment.
It's commitment. It's also expensive to get the gear. And yeah, so there are LARPs going several days, including tents. So like you sleeping in the camp and pretend to just be a person from medieval times, including bad hygiene and stuff.
Hmm. And the question that I think is on everyone's mind is the characters in the tabletop RPGs.
Yes.
Is there romance and sex between them, and does that get weird in real life?
It can happen. And if it happens, or if it's on, let's say, on the horizon that it might happen, I highly recommend talking to the other player before it happens, because not everybody feels comfortable with it. So it can definitely happen, and it can make sense when people share trauma or share successes in the story. So romance and sex can definitely happen in RPGs, in tabletop RPGs. But in order to play that out, you need to ask permission from the other player in order to do so, because otherwise it can feel really off-putting and ruin the fun for people at the table. And I also have a story about it where a person didn't feel it. Like 2 months ago, with our regular Pathfinder 2 campaign, there was like a triangle of love of some sort, and my player character was one part of it. And there was another player character involved in this triangle. And when I tried to address it, to talk about the romance aspect of the triangle and about priorities and who is allowed to interact with a woman, I immediately got I don't want to deal with it. This is not why I play tabletop RPGs. I do not want to step into it. No interest. Do whatever you think might be appropriate, but I'm out of this triangle. So this can happen too. And then you need to respect it and don't go further.
Yeah. Because people get all invested in these characters, right? And then when you're immersed in it, you don't want, you don't then want any inappropriateness to happen to your character. That's interesting. Like the commitment emotionally to the character can be very strong as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's in the interest of everybody involved that you keep the group going moving forward. So you want to keep the group, because the longer you play with each other, the stronger the friendship becomes. Sorry. So you do not want to risk any of those because of some romance in the game.
Yep.
So do whatever is necessary to keep the peace of the table.
Agreed. Some rapid fire questions for the end. First one's easy. So if you go back to a recent, really satisfying, good session of, let's say, D&D, imagine I'm at the table. What role would have been perfect for me, and what happens to my character?
I'm playing this Hexen 1733 campaign.
Say that again. That's amazing.
It's translated Witches 1733.
Yeah, no, And one more time in German, please.
Hexen 1733.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, keep going.
So this setting is the gates to hell opened in the 17th century. So a lot of bad creatures creeped out of hell and make Earth not a fun place. So this is the setting, and you're playing like those hunters that try to solve problems with those creatures. And I'm part of a campaign that plays in the Mediterranean Sea. So it's like a pirate campaign, but we don't consider ourselves pirates, but treasure hunters. And I imagine you as some sort of person that I meet in the tavern. Maybe a barkeep, or maybe just a ruffian that has seen too many drinks and involuntarily gets too much attention.
I love it. So it's a side character trying to become the main character.
I see that.
I can see tavern being my environment. I can see those being any of my professions or non-professions as ruffian. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I don't see you as forest fairy, I don't see that. just to be honest.
Or I'm happy you didn't say priest either, because that would have gotten us into all kinds of trouble.
I don't want to.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, well, that was really well done. That got me excited. Every time I have a conversation with anyone who's into RPGs, I always think I should try this, and just never. I guess it's if I have 4 hours, I'm gonna play golf. That's the only thing that stands in our way. We need to destroy golf, make it all a big LARPing forest.
Well, you can. First step would be looking for opportunities in your vicinity. So where do you live?
I'm in the south coast of England.
Okay, so there must be bigger settlements, right?
Oh yeah. There are. You call them settlements. I love it. Like in the old days.
Well, you didn't say London, so it must be a settlement.
No. Yeah, some Viking taverns and settlements. Yeah.
And then if you found people that are playing already or that have a free spot, you can just try it, and after that you can decide whether or not occasionally you replace playing golf with playing tabletop RPGs.
All right. I'm assuming because you're making content in German about RPGs. A quick, what's a nice place to start for people in English? A podcast or a YouTube channel that you like?
So there are several channels that I can highly recommend, depending on how funny it should be. So I recommend for pure hilarious laughters, Dungeons and Daddies. They are very big and they are very funny. And for the people from the UK, I recommend Ox Venture. They are also funny. They have a nice accent because it's British. So these two are great. And of course, I recommend Critical Role because I watch it weekly, and our podcast is about Critical Role. And if people decide to try Critical Role, I recommend starting with campaign 2. Not 3, not 4, with 2.
2. Okay, got it. I'll put some of those links in the description as well. And your podcast is in German and specifically about Critical Role, which is a TV show.
It's a web series. It's an actual play series of people playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And Daggerheart.
They say in this podcasting game you have to go specific, find your niche, which I'm obviously not doing. You have really found a niche. I love it. For anyone who doesn't speak German, we have a few Germans listening, but I like to practice my German, try to see how much I can understand by listening to your thing and slowing it down a bit. And now your podcast app will allow you to slow it down a bit and try to figure it out. Main message, I guess, is that this has made me quite excited to go to a session and try one of these.
Happy to hear that, Danny.
I think I'll go with the horror one. I gotta go with my guys in Metallica here and go with Call of Cthulhu, right?
Yeah, try it. I mean, D&D can be horror too. It depends on the story.
Yeah, it depends on the people you're stuck next to for 4 hours.
And the people, yeah. So I just memorized. So the finale of campaign 2 and 3 of Critical Role was a lot of body horror. So really weird body shit with body parts and flesh and skin and organs and it was really not my cup of tea. So you don't need Cthulhu in order to get horror. This is what I'm saying. But Call of Cthulhu is quite popular. I hope in UK as well, but in Germany it is.
Awesome. Hey, any final message to the people about RPGs or gaming in general, or just life?
Well, so one advice I would give to people playing tabletop RPGs is to do the session 0. Session 0 is where you talk about what everybody is expecting from the adventure and to put lines and veils. So topics that you do not want to cross or only mention a topic but not diving deeper into it. So that's like the hard lines. So you never mention, for example, spider in the whole game because one person is afraid of spiders, or like violence against children or something. So there are those topics that you do not want to have in an RPG session, and this is one of the things that you talk about in a session 0 before you even start. Just getting to know the boundaries of people and what to expect from the game. So there are people that laugh about session 0, but I don't understand those people, to be honest. If you have respect for your peeps at the table, you should do the session 0.
Incredible advice. And hey, thank you for your time. This was really, really interesting and fun. And it is fun. Role-playing games are fun, right? And I find Thomas on the Schniekattack podcast and elsewhere on YouTube. We'll put the links in the description.
The pleasure was mine, Danny. Thank you very much.